It's another day, and I'm grateful that you've made time to join us for yet another edition of 21 Minutes with KKB. My name is Kwabna Chenchehinibuatin. Today, I'm interviewing a gentleman most of you may not know much about, but as I scanned through my documents, as I glanced through and looked for people to interview on this show, he caught my attention, and for one reason or the other, I do not really know, but I'm hoping to find out a lot more about him and his decision to be the President of Ghana. I'll return in a jiffy to introduce my next guest for the show. Stay with us. Elikplim Agbemava is my guest today on 21 Minutes with KKB. Eli, good morning.
Good morning.
And thanks for joining us today on the show.
Thank you for
having me. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
You are an otherwise unknown person, I would say, and of course a lot of people in your party will say you are a non-entity in the NDC.
Yes.
And you say what, you want to be president?
Yes, I want to be the president of Ghana.
Why? Why? What happened?
It's because I want to give power back to the people, and after contesting the primaries, if I'm successful, and then I'm going to implement a series of programs that will see the people benefit from their own government, that will see government being responsible to the needs of the people. As things stand now, I don't really have that feel. Eli,
you are telling us now that anybody can just get up one day and say, I don't see things going the way they should go, so I want to be president. But does it work that way?
Oh, no. First of all, you know that the Constitution provides that, every person who is beyond the age of 40 may contest.
You are 41?
So, yes.
So because you're 41, you can be president and you want to be president?
No,
and because of that, Ghanaians should vote for you as president?
I believe I'm very qualified, apart from the age issue. And I believe that if given the opportunity, I'll put my best efforts, at the disposal of the people of Ghana.
What I've heard some people say is that because you think you are Ever, and because the NDC was formed or grounded on Ever roots, because of that you feel that you do stand a chance, and because of that you may win the hearts of the Ewe land, people from the Ewe community, and ride on that to become flag bearer, hopefully one day. Is that the case?
That is not exactly true, but as it is, every politician has a home base, but for me, I've had a varied background. I was born in Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
I had my basic education in Akufo-Addo, and from there I went to the Bremane Sukuma Secondary School, where I completed my GCE O-level certificate. From there I went to the Adisado College, and proceeded to the University of Ghana, Legon, and then Makola. I think that I've experienced our various cultures and environments, to make me the Ghanaian that I need to be able to lead, the people of Ghana.
You say you have diverse, should I say diverse backgrounds,
yes,
that seem to inure to your advantage, but of course you do have a solid core in the Volta region.
Yes.
Do I, by that, get the impression that perhaps the founder of the party, John Rawlings, sees you as someone who can lead the party?
First of all, I can't wish where I come from away. I'm an Ever, and that issue will always come up. If my people.
But you and I agree, Mr. Rawlings would be very happy if there was an Ewe lead in the NDC now.
That's not the perspective I have from him.
Okay.
I've met him, twice.
Okay.
And I think the main issue that comes up, from our discussions is how to make Ghana better. How to ensure an accountable government.
How do you plan on making Ghana better?
Oh, by cutting down the waste, that we've been experiencing, and also doing what the people want, complying fully with the Constitution, and making the basic, amenities available to the people of Ghana.
Are these things not being done? We've had several presidents from Nkrumah up until now, and everybody has played a role. Everybody has contributed this quota. So, what different thing are you going to do?
Yes, they are being done, but they are not being done enough. In years past and since independence, we've always had a budget deficit. And the issue of revenue generation, is very important. Of course, if we have enough, we could do whatever we want to do, have all the luxuries we want to have. Provide good subsidies to our farmers and our industries. So basically, what I would say is that I'm going to increase the pace, and do more of what has already been done.
You can't do that from wherever you are. You're a lawyer, I'm told. You can't do a lot more advocacy as far as perhaps getting laws done so that people who are put into such offices are able to do whatever it is that's expected of them as leaders. Must you necessarily be president?
It's a vision, and nobody is best pleased to implement the vision I have.
So you're 41.
Yes.
Your party, the NDC, lost out in the last elections. Ghanaians say they voted for a young president, where we had enough of the older generation. So
Yes.
Ghanaians voted for a younger president, and a lot more people seem to have a view that did not really inure to the country's benefits. Now, you're saying we should take a chance with you, an even younger person who perhaps does not even have enough experience to bring to bear. What would you say to anybody who says this to you? Would it not be a fair argument that really?
First of all, I think that I come with a very unique background. I've worked in the private sector before.
Okay.
I've worked in the banking sector, and I've also had a 5-year experience in the public sector, and not just that, I had it at a higher level where I worked with 2 cabinet ministers, in the Professor Tamil's government. So I'm very acquainted to the machinery of government, how government works, and what needs to be done.
What went wrong for the NDC in 2016?
Many people have different views, but I think that at the end of the day, we lost touch with the people, and we didn't buy ourselves the time we need to buy to be able to gain the trust of the people. If we were to gain the trust of the people, then we were supposed to, implement, certain long-term measures to grow the economy, so that we don't get ourselves, what should I say, into the perennial cycle of, exchange rate fluctuations, for example.
You think the president at the time, John Mahama, did not do enough to grow the economy?
He may have done his part, but I think that his best was not enough. And I am ready to face that.
So you agree then with all the things Dr. Bawumia has been saying, that the Mahama government ran down the economy?
I wouldn't say he ran down the economy, because the problems Mahama faced are still being faced. Last week he had to do a comparative analysis of the exchange rate depreciation. This is a problem every government has faced. Now the question is, how do we deal with it so that we don't come back to it, every 4 years? That's the main issue. And for me, if we are sincere about solving the issues, then we must make sure that we grow our industrial base, and increase trade, amongst ourselves.
Is that not being done currently?
The
NPP government promised all these things, and they are implementing a number of them. So
we are yet to see the results. So
you've not seen fuel prices go down. You've not seen electricity
fuel
tariffs
prices have
go
not
down.
gone down.
You have not. Well,
fuel prices have not
fuel
gone down.
prices have gone down.
They've not gone down.
In
They've
the
gone
past 2 weeks, fuel prices have gone down by at least 4% in the past 2 weeks. So
no,
those are factual things.
yes.
So fuel prices have gone down. So I'm saying fuel prices have gone down, electricity tariffs have gone down, virtually everything else seems to be on course.
Yes,
there's free SHS, we are trying to educate the citizenry and the like.
But if you speak of fuel prices going down and also electricity tariffs going down, those are social mitigating measures that are being implemented to cushion the Ghanaian. But the essential basic problem is the need for more revenue to facilitate and implement the programs that we need. Everything that we do is funded by money. And so if at the end of the day, we implement the social mitigating measures and still do not grow, in terms of trade, and industrialization to gain enough revenue to still cushion or even sustain or even pay the deficit that is going to occur as a result of these reductions, then we are in a vicious cycle. So for me, yes, you can reduce electricity tariff, but how do you answer the basic question of the need for more money to invest in the power sector? That is it.
How would you answer that as president? How would you fix that problem?
Basically, we've been running on hydro and lately on thermal and fuel. You know, we need to increase more cheaper sources of energy. Renewable energy must be looked at. You know, if we are to
have you done research to know how much, for instance, it costs to get on board such a system, renewable energy? How much is it going to cost the country?
Generally, every new technology is expensive.
How much is it going to cost the country?
I have not done that specific calculation.
But if you are prepared to be president, you need to have a fair idea how much is going to go into such things.
It's going to be done, of course. And if I'm going
to... But
you've
not done it now. And you are telling us now that we should discard all the other options we see, and that you have a better option.
You don't also dispute that renewable energy, being a new technology, is more expensive because it's new. Yes, as more methods of doing that comes up, you know, it's going to get cheaper, and we must be bold enough to confront the issue. At the end of the day, the initial cost will be higher, but you know, in the long run, it will be cheaper.
So you're waiting to be president, and then you begin to think through and say, okay, now let's do this, now let's do that.
No, that is not it. It is a process we are involved in, and we are going to embrace whatever challenges that come up. We are going to do all the research that we need to do, and we are going to implement.
Why have you not done such research now? That's the question.
No, because
if you are keen on becoming president, and like I said, you are giving Ghanaians an alternative.
Yes.
So why should Ghanaians ignore all the other people they have seen? Some they may have tried and tested over a period. Why should you be the preferred candidate? Why should you be the preferred choice?
Because at this point, what I'm required to do is to understand the general issues. You know, because I mean. So you understand the general issues? Of course, if you know everybody was supposed to know the specifics as it is now, then the party manifesto that even the party even takes into government may not change.
How do you assess your chances?
My chances are very good. I represent a very core constituency of the country.
Which is the Volta Region?
No, which is the youth.
The youth
of Ghana. I represent, you know.
Sylvester Mensah is also very youthful. John Mahama is also very youthful.
That is what you are saying, but looking at myself.
You are the youngest so far.
Yes, but it's not just about age. You know, it's also about the vision. I think that...
You are saying those people don't have visions?
They may feel free to talk to you about their vision. But
do you think they have visions strong enough to contest the visions you have put before me right now?
I will want to speak about my vision, and I believe that my vision...
Are your visions superior to all your competitors?
It is.
So you're a better candidate in all respects?
I am a better candidate because I bring honesty and integrity to the politics we have in Ghana. We must do responsible politics. That is what is most important. If we want to communicate to the people of Ghana, we must communicate to them in all honesty and explain to them what the real issues are. And when they are called upon to take up bigger, you know, obligations, bigger tasks, we must be frank and let them know, because the whole country belongs to all of us, and we cannot risk losing the country. You know, if the country comes down, we all lose. But if we sacrifice and we are able to, you know, build a better Ghana, then we all enjoy. That is what I think.
From what you say, it appears to me you seem to be of the view that some people may not have been very honest, some politicians may not have been very honest with Ghanaians. And it leads me to think whether or not you subscribe to the philosophy of the former president, John Rawlings, who seems to believe that there was so much that happened in the NDC, a situation that actually led to your party's electoral defeat. So much corruption, so much in a lot of misappropriation and a lot of sycophancy and the like he speaks of. Is that something you subscribe to?
I believe in whatever he says, and it is true that, you know, we had issues of corruption, bad governance. You know, if you talk about corruption, somebody might say that, okay, you know, nobody has been taken to court and found guilty, but we all know the price we are paying for bad governance, the lack of.
So you don't admit now that there was bad governance when the NDC was in power?
I do admit, and that is why we were voted out.
So John Mahama was a bad leader?
In the estimation of the people of Ghana, he did not meet their expectations.
I'm asking you, John Mahama, was he a bad leader?
He did not meet the expectation of the people.
Does John Rawlings back you? Because he seems to be the one speaking a lot about honesty, probity, and accountability, and the like. Something he says is lacking in the NDC now, and the fact that the party needs a leader who can bring to bear some of these values. Is he backing you? Since you say you have all these values.
Yes, I've met him, a number of times, and what he tells me is that he will support all of us, to build.
Mr. Rawlings is going to support you?
That's what he said. He said he will support all of us to build a stronger party, so...
and he wants you to lead the agenda in building a stronger party. Is that the case?
He's not said he wants me to lead the agenda. He is going to provide the support everybody needs, everybody who is in the contest needs to be able to ensure a stronger party to win the election.
I do know that when the sentences of 3 gentlemen who went on radio and said things against the Chief Justice and indeed justices of the country, when their sentences were remitted, you went to court.
Yes.
Can you take us back a bit? Why did you go to court?
It's part
you wanted them back in jail?
No, it's part of my desire to see the country governed, properly.
Okay.
And I feel that that particular decision was a very bad decision in the context of the 1992 Constitution and
so you think John Mahama made a mistake in remitting those sentences?
I think it was a constitutional mistake. It was, because my understanding, and again, the matter is pending in court, so I wouldn't want to, talk, much about that. I would want to defer to the Supreme Court, to come up with their final decision. But what I'm seeking to do in the Supreme Court is to curb discretionary power. What my reliefs in the Supreme Court are to ensure that the exercise of discretionary power is governed by rules and regulations, so that tomorrow, if I decide that you is going to be a beneficiary of a government program, it shouldn't be because I personally feel that you should have it, but it's because some rules somewhere say that, looking at your station in life, looking at your social conditions, looking at your economic conditions, you are the person this benefit should go to. That is all I'm seeking to do in the Supreme Court. It's about discretionary power, and I didn't ask for any specific relief where the Supreme Court will stand on and say that these people should go back to the Nsawam prison. I
am saying this because I did hear somewhere that you were in court. You filed this writ with some pro-MPP lawyers, I'm told. And based on that, the impression is that, he may even be a mole. He's working with them and he wants our people in jail.
No,
so that's not the case.
No, you see, I'm not a mole. I didn't work with any MPP member or anybody associated with the MPP. I was the first, to write an article, on my Facebook wall, even before the president, could receive the petitions to, then take that decision. I caution that this is a bad decision and which will inure, very badly to the party, and that we must exercise caution. So I also said that if that is done, I will proceed to court to challenge it. Why? Because we must not be in a boat, or a ship, and if the ship is not being steered well, then we refuse to.
So it's as if there's too much power vested in the president.
There is. Everybody agrees to that. But the most important thing is we must come to a point. We must come to a point where Article 296 is accepted and is implemented to its fullest. Because in the UK, if somebody, the Prime Minister or somebody is given the power to exercise his or her discretion, it doesn't depend on the person's emotions. They make regulations, subsidiary rules to govern, those things. What I'm saying is that if, for example, we say we are going to distribute school uniforms, it is for the disadvantaged in our society. But does that mean that somebody who attends, for example, a top school like Morning Star or Akufo-Addo International should also benefit from the free school uniform? Those are the economic considerations that must come into our decision making. And if we leave it to chance, if we leave it to personalities, then always prejudice is going to come in. And it's natural. I'm not blaming anybody. It's natural. If you leave the human being to take decisions based on his likes and dislikes, definitely he's not going to appease anybody.
Okay. And I also read somewhere that you are in court again, seeking to get some interpretation and, if possible, reverse the decision where all 275 members of parliament every 4 years take ex-gratia. Is that true?
Yes, it's very true.
So you seem to be someone who loves to fight a lot. But
it's not about fighting. It's not about fighting. And these are some of the things and the spirit that is leading me to put up myself, to serve the people of Ghana, because I see so much going wrong. For example, I mean, we have teachers who work for, let's say, 30, 40 years of their lives, and they retire at 60. Those teachers don't have the chance to stagger their retirement and retire after 10 years, collect their ex-gratia, and come back and apply, seek employment again in the same public service. Then after 10 years, collect their retirement benefit, go and sleep. After 5 years, then they come. That is discriminatory. It's also a waste of public funds, because the parliamentarian who takes ex-gratia after 4 years knows very well that he has contested, before he takes that ex-gratia, he knows very well that he has contested his party's primaries, he has won, and he's going to return to the next, parliament. So why do you declare an intention to government, to the state, that you have retired and then collect your retirement benefit? Ex-gratia is a retirement benefit. It's not a gift. It's a retirement benefit.
So you can retire and come back.
That is so. Article 114 is clear. And what is being done is a misinterpretation of Article 114.
I know at a point in time you were a state attorney. Is that true?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Now, in the wake of the expose in 2015 by Anas Mayor Anas about the corrupt state, or at the time at least, the corrupt state of the judiciary, how justice was for sale, and how 34 judges were caught on tape, of course aided by people such as state attorneys, judicial secretaries, and whatever. Do you think after that expose and after all the cleanup exercise, let me put it that way, after all the cleanup that was done, people still have confidence in the judiciary as of now?
I think as a lawyer...
Has anything changed?
I think as a lawyer, something has changed.
What has changed?
Cases are dealt with more fairly, and quicker, and judges are now exercising their power more independently. And so, on the whole, it was a good thing that happened, and if we should have bad nuts in any institution, those bad nuts should be taken out. But what we need to do more is to increase access to justice, build more courthouses, and also reduce the cost of justice.
Eddie, thank you for your time on the show today,
Yes.
and we are really grateful you joined us. Elikplim Agbemava has been our guest today on 21 Minutes with KKB. Some pretty interesting things he's had to share with us on the show today. I'm sure you didn't know much about him as far as that is concerned, but today he has given us enough reason to, should I say, do you think you've convinced the electorate enough, the NDC?
They are to judge after watching this interview. Yes, but I believe that I have what it takes to meet their expectations and also meet their needs. There are so many issues that they need to deal with. They feel powerless. And
you give them the power.
I'll give them the power. That's what I want to do.
That's Eli's take. Yes. Eli is saying that he's going to give the grassroots of the NDC power. He's going to return power to the grassroots. Let me thank you once again for your time.
Yep,
thank you. We are grateful for that. It's been another edition of 21 Minutes with KKB. My name is Kwabna Chenchehene Boating. I'll see you soon, hopefully, with another guest you're expecting.